Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Jeremy Vogt. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today I'll be reading the Nipua banner and press for Friday, September 30th, 2022. And on the front page, Nipua's next mayor, ready for the challenge. Brian Headley looking forward to serving community in a new role. Over the last 25 years, Brian Headley has seen a lot of great things happen in Nipua. Over the next 4 years, he hopes to be part of the group that ensures great things continue to happen for our community. As municipal elections across Manitoba begin to take shape, one high-profile race has already been decided, with Headley set to be acclaimed as mayor of Nipua. Headley, who was first elected to the town council in 2018, is the lone individual who has submitted his name for the job. The position of mayor is open due to Blake McCutcheon deciding not to run for a second term. Along with his tenure as councillor, Headley has also served as deputy mayor. Speaking with the Banner and Press earlier this week, he said that experience has been a great learning opportunity. I've really enjoyed the last 4 years. It has been nice serving as deputy mayor and working with Blake McCutcheon. I've learned a lot of stuff from him, and I thought, in deciding to run for mayor, here's an opportunity to continue to work with the community and for them. There are a lot of tremendous projects that are on the go right now I'd like to see finished, stated Headley. Headley noted that the last several councils for the town of Nipua have done an amazing job in advancing the community. From the work on improvements to our water and sewer lines, to the planned swimming pool upgrades and creation of the High Life Back 40 bike trail park, there has been tremendous momentum over the last 8 years. Headley said it will be very important for him and the new council to keep that momentum going. And this is continued on page 812. And there's a picture of him here, Brian Headley, who has served as a councillor for the town of Nipua for the last 4 years, will be acclaimed as the new mayor for the community later this year. Infrastructure, general planning priorities for Nipua's next mayor. As he has spoken with people about what their wants and needs are for the future, Headley indicated that infrastructure still appeared to be where they hoped to see the most progress. People want the streets and sidewalks improved, and then from that there are spin-offs as the community continues to grow. We need more housing. There has been a lot of work done on that over the past few years, but it's something we need to continue working on, Headley stated. Along with housing, we have growth initiatives we want to look at. We've had the community recreational study done, and I would like to see some of those ideas pursued. There does need to be generational planning for recreation for the future. Headley elaborated by saying that there are already plans advancing on the improvements to the swimming pool and creation of more pickleball and basketball courts, which is a positive for Nipua. Along with that, he noted that he'd like to see some examination into ensuring the viability of both the curling rink and hockey arena. Both those entities are volunteer-run, but do receive grants each year from the town's budget that cover a portion of their overall budgets. When I first came to the community, there were plenty of good reasons why the curling rink is a separate holding and skating rink and that, but I'd like us to look into the future. Generational planning for 30 or 40 years and try to come up with a plan that says, hey, here's something we're going to work towards as a community. As for Nipua Town Council, there are 9 people who will be vying for the 6 available positions. While Headley does not yet know exactly who he will be working with on council, he is very optimistic about all the names he sees on the ballot. I know everyone personally except for one, but I still know that person well enough to feel positive about their pursuit of a seat at the council table. We have a lot of good people looking to step up, and I think the community is going to be happy with the council that we end up with. Nipua's general municipal election is scheduled for Wednesday, October 26th. And on the opposite page, there is the municipal elections guide showing all of the candidates for the town of Nipua and the other municipalities in the area. And for the town of Nipua, the candidates for council are Dean Dietrich, Brian Elgert, Daryl Gerard, Marika Kostenchuk, Marianne Marquez Hunstad, Jason Nadeau, Murray Parrott, Lisa Pottinger, and Yvonne Sisley, or Doble. Nipua is the perfect place to be. Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic welcomes new staff member, Dr. Jawed. Another fresh face can be seen at the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Nipua. An ever-improving facility in a matter of respects, the clinic has added Dr. Sidra Jawed to its staff. Dr. Jawed specializes in family medicine with an interest in the palliative care side as well. Officially making her home here just last week, Dr. Jawed told the Banner and Press that she was right on time for her first day on the job on September 21st. So I'm quite literally brand new, Dr. Jawed laughed. Before coming here, I lived in Winnipeg. I got my schooling in Pakistan, where I lived previously, then came to Winnipeg in 2013. So about 9 years ago now. Dr. Jawed added, I did my training in Winnipeg while I lived there. Then, after my residency in family medicine, I moved here. Favoring rural settings, Dr. Jawed noted that the move felt like a natural progression for her career. What's more, she's actually stopped in the community before. I visited Nipua before coming here, and I love the people here. Everyone has been so kind, said Dr. Jawed. In addition to the people, Dr. Jawed made note of a few additional factors that are big draws for her. Nipua is the perfect place to be. I really enjoy that the national park is so close and you're not far from Brandon, too, Dr. Jawed expressed. And you can have really nice vacation spots here. That's why I tell my colleagues that I'm very lucky to be placed in Nipua. Dr. Jawed is eager to explore all the community and area has to offer. However, for now, she wished to extend a word of gratitude. I'd really like to thank everyone in general for being so welcoming, said Dr. Jawed. I only just started the Wednesday after having moved the week prior, and generally they've just been so nice. From my daughter's daycare to her school, my colleagues here, they've all been so welcoming and understanding. And there's a picture of her with caption, Dr. Sidra Jawed was welcomed as a new member of the team of doctors at the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Nipua last week. She is eager to provide the care her patients need, further explore the area, and meet more residents of the community. And I apologize if we mispronounced her name. Local music studio up for Studio of the Year. Frozen Fire Studios is one of 2 Manitoban music studios that has been nominated for Studio of the Year at the Manitoba Loud Music Awards for 2022. An artist-focused studio, Frozen Fire Studios is owned and operated by Nipua local Jeff Descender. Descender is passionate about music, mental health, and supporting local, and he tries to incorporate all 3 into what he does through Frozen Fire. Manitoba Loud Music Awards is an annual event put on by Badlands Promotions Inc. and other Manitoba sponsors and organizations. Badlands is a promotion company based out of Portage la Prairie that promotes live shows in Portage, Winnipeg, and Brandon, as well as supports musicians whether they are trying to start up or already established. Their goal is to support and bring awareness of local talent of the less popular genres of rock and metal to the public eye and give credit where it's due. Frozen Fire Studios has partnered with Badlands Promotions Inc. because they share a mutual goal. They're both focused on the local music scene and mental health initiatives. The voting process for the Loud Music Awards was held online from September 8th to September 30th. The live awards event will then be hosted in Winnipeg in November. Frozen Fire Studios is a local recording studio located just south of Nipua. Being a Canadian-based company, their sole focus is supporting Canadian artists throughout the country to help get them started and get their music heard. The company itself is artist-oriented, being run by a local musician himself. Aside from Descender's band, they have 2 other main artists that they work with regularly. One is based in Manitoba and the other is in Saskatchewan. Descender said it felt surreal when he received notification that his studio had been nominated. He said it was a great feeling to be recognized by someone who feels that what they do is worth doing. I guess I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and the fight is worth it that much more, added Descender. He's very happy that even just one person loves what they do. Descender has always been passionate about music, and it's an important part of his life. The studio's main focus is the music. He said he is not concerned with fame and fortune, but with the fact that music is a type of safe place for many people, and it's important for there to be a place where like-minded individuals can have that sense of community. To sum up what Descender said about his studio and the people he works with, he said, "We do what we do because we love what we do." Smile cookie sales skyrocket since last year. The Nipua community really showed up to bring smiles to some local students. The local Tim Hortons Smile Cookie campaign sold more cookies than ever this year, with 100% of proceeds going towards the Nipua Middle School Playground Fund. In total, $11,873 were brought in from the sale of Smile cookies, which were sold for $1 each. Nipua Tim Hortons franchisee Greg Crisanti said that those numbers put Nipua's store in the top 10 in Manitoba for cookie sales. "It was successful this year for sure," he expressed. "It'll be great to get that playground closer to completion. I think this will really help." Not only was Nipua's store high up in the province's rankings, it also beat out its own record set last year by nearly $2,000. And coming up at the Roxy Theatre on September 30th and October 1st at 7:30 p.m., Bullet Train. In this action comedy, 5 assassins aboard a fast-moving bullet train find out their missions have something in common. And then the Roxy Theatre will be closed for the Thanksgiving weekend. And here on NACTV, the 2022 Annual General Meeting and Volunteer Appreciation Night will be on October 20th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at Kinsman Courts 2. And on TV this week, we will have a coffee chat with the Nipua Lions Club that will air on October 8th at 6 p.m. And footage from High Life Family Fun Day on October 4th at 7:30 p.m. Then again on October 6th at 2:30 and October 8th at 12:30 p.m. And our NACTV Bigger Bingo jackpot is now over $14,000, and you can buy bingo packages for $12 each here at the NACTV office or at Harris Pharmacy, the Nipua Legion, Tim Tom's, or Vigo's Kitchenette. Topigs Norsvin opens new swine breeding facility near Plumas. An international swine genetics company has recently unveiled a new breeding facility just northeast of Plumas. Topigs Norsvin, Canada, headquartered in Oak Bluff, Manitoba, held the official opening of the site, called Innova Canada, on Wednesday, September 21st. This new facility will be the 5th location for the company in Canada, all of which are within Manitoba. Innova Canada will be a breeding facility to further develop Topigs Norsvin's genetic products. Innova Canada is going to be a genetic nucleus for one of the genetic lines we have in Canada, the Z line. It will be part of the Delta Canada program and will provide boars to our Delta Canada boar testing facility in Woodlands, Manitoba, explained Mike Shaw, Director of Genetic Services for Topigs Norsvin. He added that the work done at Innova Canada will benefit their customers not only in Manitoba, but worldwide. Being a genetic nucleus, we are breeding the best females to the best males to get the best genetics into the next generation. So we are continuously making the breed better, more productive, more efficient, more sustainable. The new location will also be implementing new practices for the health of the animals. Our focus will be on welfare and sustainability, focusing on new welfare concepts such as free farrowing, while increasing mothering ability using new camera technologies, artificial learning and machine learning, as well as improving efficiencies through tools like lactation feed intake recording equipment, Shaw said. The development of Innova Canada has been in the works for a couple years now. Shaw noted that Topigs Norsvin began looking for locations in the summer of 2020. Construction on Innova Canada began just this year, with the aim to complete Site 1 of the facility by the end of the year. Shaw noted that the opening event on Wednesday was a success, with a turnout of about 600 people, including locals, Manitoba and Canada agricultural representatives, as well as clients and prospects from as far away as the US, Brazil, Europe, and Scandinavia. The opening went very well, despite the weather. We had people touring the barn, asking questions, and discussing the different areas in the facility, he shared. Visitors were interested in seeing the new high welfare areas in the barn, from group gestation to free farrowing, as well as some of the new technologies such as farrowing feed intake recording equipment and some new biosecurity concepts, such as the new loadout design. Creating a vision for the valley. Town of Minnedosa hosts strategic town hall meeting. The town of Minnedosa is looking to shape its vision for the community over the next 5 years and is asking its residents for advice on that vision. On September 21st, about 65 local ratepayers attended a town hall meeting at the Minnedosa Community Conference Center. The purpose for the gathering was to hear the citizens' perspective where the priorities for building the community should be. After some extended discussion on both the positives and challenges that Minnedosa faces, the consensus was made on what the 4 priorities should be. Those priorities were, in no particular order: road and infrastructure upgrades, effort to attract more industry, housing expansion, and flood mitigation. Kathy Snellgrove, who is a senior partner with Sear Consulting, conducted the meeting. She said this type of interaction with community members is extremely valuable in the process. Everyone comes with a different set of knowledge and experiences, different ideas as to what could help. The reality is there is no one answer. It's going to take a whole lot of different little answers to solve a community's problems. So when we can get a group of people like this together to collectively talk about a community, it shows how interested they are in the community and how they want to see it grow, said Snellgrove. What we accomplished here tonight, the insights that they shared, it's going to be valuable in the next steps of formulating a plan for Minnedosa. Minnedosa CAO Jim Doppler was also on hand for the meeting, serving as the town's representative. After the meeting, he told the Banner and Press that arranging a session like this is something the town has wanted to do for several months. Doppler said the information collected from it is going to prove to be significant. Right now we're getting input from staff, outgoing council, and from the community. So for the new council, having this type of knowledge at the start of their term is very positive, Doppler stated. A lot of the points are very good, and now we'll be able to formalize our priorities, and that's going to be our next step. Over the next few months, the town of Nipua, the town of Minnedosa, and Sear will review the details from the meeting, as well as information gathered from an online survey that will be posted on the town's website. From that, a specific strategic growth plan for the town of Minnedosa for the next 5 years will be established. A finalized concept should be completed by early in 2023 at the latest. And there's a couple of pictures associated with this article. On the top picture, Kathy Snellgrove of Sear Consulting led the strategic town hall meeting, which analyzed the strengths and challenges for the town of Minnedosa and discuss what the priorities for the community should be over the next 5 years. And on the lower picture, residents of Minnedosa got together on September 21st to share their perspectives for community development. Pros and cons of the community's current situation were all considered to determine what areas needed improvement. Kathy Snellgrove led the meeting. Preparing to pour $11 million into Park Lake restoration. A significant step forward has been made in the effort to return Park Lake to its former glory. On Tuesday, September 20th, Nipua Town Council unanimously approved the selection of Tri-Core Projects Limited for the proposed $11 million restoration. Tri-Core is a Winnipeg-based environmental infrastructure company which will oversee the replacement of the dam structure, the spillway, and remediation of flood damage to all areas which were impacted. This work is needed due to a storm that passed through the region in July 2020 that caused the lake to breach, generating major damage to the northeast and southeast parts of the community. While reviewing the details of the selection process for council, Chief Administrative Officer Colleen Sinchishin noted that the restoration of just over $11 million will be a bit more than the original estimates had been expecting. She indicated that she has been in communications with Manitoba Emergency Measures to ensure that all the costs would be covered by the Disaster Assistance Program. with Manitoba emergency measures online and agreeing that this will all be covered under disaster assistance at no cost to Nipua, said Sinchishan. While the money for the Park Lake repairs will be distributed through a provincial program, it's being dispensed by the federal government. Mayor Blake McCutcheon asked for clarification on just how hands-on representatives with the town could be with the restoration. Manager of Operations Denise Sakay stated that town officials can attend all the construction meeting and advise Tricor, but for the most part the final decisions on the work and how it proceeds will be under the control of the general contractor. The completion date for the restoration is not formally finalized due to potential of outside factors such as weather or contractor scheduling. As for the other progress at the lake, the construction of the new bridge has been completed and is now open. The removal of the old culvert system, meanwhile, is still being reviewed by the Federal Department of Transport. Councillor Marika Kostenchuk provided an update related to the handy van program. She noted that they had sent out a request for a proposal for a contractor, which closed on September 12th. They received 3 proposals for the job, with the one submitted by Justin Chikolsky selected. The contract will be for 5 years and no financials were discussed at the council meeting. Murray Parrott informed council of the ongoing upgrades at work at the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic. Tenders are being accepted for the improvements to the original west side of the clinic, as well as a canopy over the south entrance doors. As well, the Farm and Leisure Lottery is coming up soon. The dates have not been announced yet, as final preparations for its launch are ongoing. Parrott expanded upon the local efforts to attract a licensed practical nurse program to Nipua. While it is still very early in the deliberation process, Parrott felt optimistic about the town's chances for being selected. The LPN program would begin in September 23, 2023, and would be a 2-year commitment. Denise Sakay offered an update on road work in Nipua. The paving plan for Commerce Street West has been completed. Mountain Avenue and Davidson Street are started. The work that has been done needed to be cured before the next stage was started. Street lights on the former CN property are being installed, and the planned extension of Isabel through the old Eastview Lodge site may need to be put on hold for the season. It will be dependent on how the annual budget for road repair and improvement aligns with the other work being done. The construction of the new RCMP building is close to an end. The town will be in touch with the RCMP to see if they will hit their targeted completion date. And the town of Nipua will purchase a hangar at the municipal airport, owned by Bruce Cook, for a cost of $12,500. And on the opposite page, we have a picture: Suffolk horses doing what they do best. Bruce Gilmore of Kelwood, plowing with his team of registered Suffolk geldings. This is what these horses do best, as Suffolk horses are known as the farmer's horse, were bred for the furrow. And submitted by the Nipua Figure Skating Club, Can Skate program is much more than you expect. Are you new to Canada? Are you interested in learning one of Canada's favorite pastimes for our long winters? Canadians love to skate, both indoors and outdoors in the wintertime. Nipua is very lucky to have a wonderful facility, the Yellowhead Center, where you can learn to skate. The Nipua Figure Skating Club organizes and runs a program called Can Skate. The Can Skate program is Canada's best and longest running Learn to Skate program. The well-organized and extensive curriculum as laid out by Skate Canada introduces a healthy, lifelong sport to kids at any age, whether you want to start at 3 or 12, or whether you just want to learn to skate or improve your skating skills. The curriculum for this program is based on Sport Canada's long-term athlete development principles and was designed with all ice sports in mind. Contrary to popular belief, Can Skate is not a figure skating program, it is a learn to skate program. Can Skate teaches the foundational skills that all types of skaters need to be successful in their sport. Whether you want to be a hockey player, a ringette star, a speed skater, a figure skater, or you just want to learn to skate, the Can Skate program teaches the basic skills one needs to learn in order to be able to skate. You learn to balance on your skates by falling down and getting up, doing slalom around pylons, or learning proper forward and backward crossovers. You learn how to be in control on your skates by skating backward, gliding on 1 or 2 feet, and how to stop a variety of different ways. You also learn how to be agile on your feet, whether you are doing a quick turn, a step turn, turning forward or backward, or glide turns. Any type of turn is vital in ice sports, particularly hockey. If you are interested in giving Can Skate a try, come on out for a free session on Friday, October 7th from 6 o'clock to 6:45 at the Yellowhead Center. If you already know you want to join our Can Skate program, head over to the Nipua Figure Skating Club's Facebook page and register your child today. Deadline to register is October 28th. And 50 years of service, honored at Ladies Auxiliary Milestone. Pictured from left, 50-year auxiliary member Leanne Harding and lifetime member Norma Reed help with the commemoration of the Nipua Ladies Auxiliary's 90th anniversary celebration on Tuesday, September 13th. On the night, Harding was presented with her pin for 50 years of service within the auxiliary. Over the years, she has assisted in multiple ways, from baking for and organizing special events to playing piano from 2008 to 2015, or at any time she was asked to entertain. The presentation came as a surprise for Harding, who was humbled by this special acknowledgement. And Delcy Martin has contributed a column entitled PPD, The Dark Side of Motherhood. A new baby brings many emotions, but what if what follows is not what you expected it to be? The traditional picture of new motherhood is her cuddling her infant close with a smile of joy, saying how she has been in love since birth. This is not the case for many mothers, more than you would expect. It's not uncommon to experience sadness, anxiety, and uncertainty after the birth of a baby, the baby blues. These symptoms usually pass within days to a few weeks, but when they don't, postpartum depression, or PPD, becomes a reality. What does it feel like? Imagine your worst flu. Imagine the full body exhaustion that comes with that. Take that exhaustion and pair it with complete vacant numbness interspersed with intense feelings of sadness. Next, take all the previous things and add to these feelings of guilt and thoughts of, I should be happy right now, or why am I so weak? Mothers are expected to be in love with their babies from birth, which isn't the case for everyone. Some mothers have an intense bond with their babies from birth, and some take time to build love with their babies. Family pressures to visit, raise your children a certain way, or maybe you don't have a supportive partner add to this. Other symptoms include change in appetite, eating less or more, change in sleep, sleeping less or more, irritability, loss of interest in activities, and thoughts of dying. Symptoms can vary from person to person and change depending on the day. There are many reasons for PPD and they vary from person to person. There are genetic risks. You are at a higher risk if you have struggled with mental health problems before pregnancy, hormonal imbalances, and environmental factors. No matter the reason, if you struggle with this, it isn't your fault, and you need to battle this with an army of support. A holistic model is important in treating PPD by targeting the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional components of the human. From the physical quadrant, it's important to eat regularly during the day. This seems like such a trivial thing, but it's really difficult to do as a new parent. You don't have to add a massive workout into your day to make a difference. Just beginning to go for walks is enough. From the spiritual quadrant, engage with your spiritual self in whatever ways work for you. Some suggestions are to attend a church service, smudge, paint, or be in nature. From the mental quadrant, you can nourish your brain by reading, listening to a podcast, or having a conversation with an elder. Finally, from the emotional quadrant, you could confide in a friend, connect with your intimate partner, or spend time with your pet. If you recognize yourself in this article, please seek out help. Physicians can nourish your physical self by prescribing medications, and counselors and support groups can nourish your emotional self through therapy. The last thing you will feel like doing is asking for help, but I promise you that what is going on for you is real. You are loved and you are worth it. Here is contact information for support. Mood Disorder Association of Manitoba texting service for PPD 204-391-5983. Manitoba Suicide Prevention and Support Line 1-877-435-7170. Visit your family doctor to ask for a referral for counseling services through Prairie Mountain Health. Delcy Martin is a Master of Social Work student with the University of Calgary. And in our Looking Back column this week, 110 years ago, Friday, September 27th, 1912. Arden, Amos Butler arrived home from the west on Wednesday. The first injurious frost of the 1912 crop season came on the night of September 23rd, when there was not much injury to be done. It is hoped that this ends the rain for the year. 100 years ago, Tuesday, September 26, 1922. Ferg Irwin went to the city on Monday to purchase more cows for his dairy, which is ever increasing in volume of business. Mr. Irwin cannot find suitable animals locally, hence the endeavor to secure them in Winnipeg. 90 years ago, Friday, September 30th, 1932. The stable and hen house belonging to Geo Pede were totally destroyed by fire on Tuesday night. The cause of the fire is unknown. Fortunately, there was no stock in the buildings at the time. They were partially covered by insurance. 80 years ago, Thursday, October 1st, 1942. Arden. 3 potatoes which grew in the shape of V's are on display in the window of the Red and White store. The potatoes were dug from the garden of the Hatarian Riverside Colony. 70 years ago, Thursday, October 2nd, 1952. Attended by the largest crowd for a single night in the 9-year history of the event, the Nipua Lions Club's Country Fair had an auspicious start Saturday night at the sports arena. The fair was favored by ideal weather, and hundreds of district residents and visitors passed through the arena doors to fill the spacious building to capacity. It has been announced that R.T. Robinson of Nipua, a member of the Brandon sales force of the Mutual Life of Canada, has been awarded the degree of Chartered Life Underwriter of Canada. 60 years ago, Tuesday, September 25th, 1962. A smashed windshield and a dead horned owl tell the story of a harrowing experience for Jim Nickel one night recently. The bird flew into his windshield while he was returning to Nipua from his home in Carberry. On the same trip, his car also struck a rabbit and a sparrow. Church officials and lay persons came from many parts of the province Friday for the dedication service held on the lawn in front of the new Burke Street housekeeping units of the Osborne home. Officiating at the formal dedication was Reverend G.B. Mather, Assistant Secretary of the Board of Evangelism and Social Service. It was estimated that about 150 people participated. The new facilities raises to 54 the number of senior citizens that can be accommodated by the Osborne home, 25 in the residence and 19 in the various housekeeping suites. The original housekeeping units on Hospital Street were opened and dedicated in August 1958. Now fully paid for and in such popular demand that there is a waiting list of applicants for admission. The facilities were expanded during the past year with the addition of the Burke Street units. Actually occupied since the start of the year, the new units contain 6 double suites. Freshie King and Queen, Wayne Cameron and Lynn Stewart rode in style in the back of a convertible in Friday's parade. And the picture is of the Osborne home. The caption reads, about 150 attended the open-air dedication service for the Burke Street units of the Osborne home, pictured at the extreme left, in 1962. Program chairman was R.J. Drysdale, who is pictured at the microphone, with other participants in the ceremonies seated behind him. 50 years ago, Thursday, September 28, 1972. A surprise supper and gathering was held Friday, September 22nd at the Glen Cafe to honor Fred and Rose De Holos on their 25th wedding anniversary. 40 years ago, Thursday, September 30th, 1982. 69 people enjoyed plane rides over the area and 140 sampled the tasty pancakes at the Nipua Flying Club's first annual open house, Sunday. Club members have deemed the day a huge success. 30 years ago, Tuesday, September 29, 1992. The Western Manitoba Regional Library System will celebrate its 25th anniversary from September 25th to October 25th. The Western Manitoba Regional Library System was established in 1967 when the city of Brandon and the town of Carberry joined forces to provide public library service to their residents. In the past 25 years, the system has grown to include a total of 8 municipal members. 20 years ago, Monday, September 30th, 2002. After failing in its bid to sign up producers, Arden's Canadian Organic Marketing Commodity Co-op, COCMC, is turning to private investors. COCMC Chairman Brad Myers said in addition to private investors, the organic co-op is in talks with a major grain company, he wouldn't say which one, in hopes of forming a partnership. And out of Helen's Kitchen this week, pork chops. From Manitoba Pork Producers website, Manitoba pork producers are proud to provide consumers at home and abroad with some of the best tasting and highest quality pork in the world. High Life is now selling their pork products in our local grocery store, Fresh Mart. Today's recipes showcase this affordable and delicious locally produced meat. And the two recipes are for 1-pan pork chop supper and sweet and sour pork chops. In the perspectives section, Vision and Planning Should Yield Success by Ken Waddell. The die is cast. Municipal and school board election candidate lists are now finalized and the election date is October 26. But there are exceptions, as a large number of councils and boards only got enough candidates to fill the seats and not enough to trigger a contest. That tells a couple of stories or more. Obviously, voters are satisfied with past performance in many cases, and sitting or incumbent councillors, mayors, and trustees have done a good job. Or it could mean that there isn't enough interest in being elected. Perhaps the job doesn't pay enough. Perhaps the job isn't worth the hassle, and unfortunately, elected officials are hassled. They shouldn't be unless there is a real issue, but sometimes voters will go off on an official when it really isn't justified. I served twice as mayor of Nipua, and it might be helpful to revisit those terms to give today's councillors and trustees some insight into how important it is to play a part in a project. In my first term as mayor, back 20 years ago, I tried my hardest to get the CNR property for the town of Nipua. It was finally purchased in my second term 10 years ago, and now that piece of land is filling up with apartment blocks, houses, a fire hall, and a police station. It took a long time. Like many other projects, it came to fruition because of the little pieces being done by many people. My part was small, but it was a good project. It just took too long. Like a lot of delayed projects, this project's costs went way up. In my first term as mayor, I had a small part to play in establishing Telehealth for Western Manitoba. I chaired the Manitoba Smart Network, and out of that grew the Telehealth program we have in Manitoba. Both my wife and I have seen the benefits. At least 8 trips to Winnipeg have been avoided due to our specialists being able to communicate with us by phone or conference video call. I played another big part in the upgrading of Nipua's Yellowhead Center with the new lights, boards, insulation, and a score clock. Still a long way to go, but it was a major improvement. I relate all these stories to illustrate that mayors, councillors, and trustees all play a part in equipping their communities to survive and thrive. It's a lot of work. Communities definitely need to grow, and they need good leadership. It has to start locally, or it won't happen at all. The question that begs an answer is, why do so many communities grow and so many fade away? Sometimes it's location. Without a large surrounding area to service, it's difficult to be a service center. Every community that has thrived has had good location, an area to serve, and most of all, a plan. If you don't have a plan, then failure is on the horizon. Sometimes the plan has to be adjusted, but if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that brings us back to mayors, councillors, and trustees. They need a vision. Vision leads to a plan, and a plan leads to success. The leading example of vision, planning, and success in Manitoba can be found in Winkler and Steinbach. If someone wants a blueprint for success, look at these two towns, lots to learn from their experience. Oh yes, it takes a lot of money, corporate, private, and government. Check out any success story in any town and you will find that the money had to come from somewhere and in a timely fashion. Many good ideas have withered in the scorching heat of not having enough money to start, or, more dangerously, not enough money to finish. Many will remember how promising it sounded when beef plants were so badly needed in Manitoba. They never amounted to a successful effort. A lot of money and manpower was expended in the process. So it all comes back to local elections. If every official digs in and helps from their spot, the vision will be a success. If not, there will be failures. The prairie landscape is dotted with success stories, but it is littered with the failures, especially leadership failures. And the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the Banner and Press staff. And Homebodies by Rita Friesen. More phone philosophy. Many are the topics covered in the morning call with my grandson. Some are deep and heavy, some remembering. We try to help each other be accountable for getting done the things we hope and plan to do. We try to be open to new and sometimes uncomfortable ideas and ideals. So, warning, some of you may become uncomfortable with new ideas, and some of you may be prompted to get delayed goals done. Topic 1 was a reminder that I had started many plans and not completed them. I have determined those who are to be my power of attorney, asked them, and upon receiving their support, had the lawyer draw up the document. In the course of business at my financial center, the gentle advisor inquired who would be a trusted contact if it would ever be necessary. I assured her that I had power of attorney in place, and she wondered if it would be possible for them to have a copy on file. How simple! Done in a phone call and a walk uptown. I have an inkling of what chaos can ensue if there is no legal document for what happens when I can't. The other plan I had begun well I might add, was and is the arrangements for my graduation from this life to the next. I have my urn at home, with a copy of the will and the scripture and music I want for my farewell service. My power of attorneys know where this package is. My power of attorneys are not my executors, so it would be so much simpler for all concerned if the funeral home has a copy as well. After a quick review of the service, I added one reading to accompany the interment portion. Filling out the vital stats form took but a minute, and I dropped that package off at the funeral home. I know that family and executors do not have to follow my wishes, but I am confident that they will. I think they may be a little afraid not to. Please, for the sake of your loved ones, look after these essential details. Wills, power of attorney, and funeral arrangements. You will be loved even more. The second topic was and is a natural continuation. Death and dying. More individuals are embracing medical assistance in dying, simply dying with dignity. I have no idea what I will choose, and can support anyone with and in their own personal decision. I have not been faced with the diagnosis of a terminal illness. I do know that people I have loved and trusted would have chosen this option if it had been available at the time of their death. For me, the decision has nothing to do with financial costs, home care, hospital care, medications, support systems, or treatments. It has to do with quality of life and care for loved ones, a relatively new idea. These conversations were accompanied by much laughter and anecdotes, giving space for grief and quiet reflection. For each of us, for all of us, there is indeed a time to be born and a time to die. Life. And we have a letter entitled, I Will Retain My Trust in Our Public Health Care. The Banner and Press September 2nd op-ed by John Feldstead promotes the total privatization of Canada's healthcare delivery, all of it including hospitals and clinics. The public system is dead and unworthy of rejuvenation. Privatized healthcare delivery does not preclude provincial governments from overseeing payments made for services rendered. Due to our close proximity to the USA and our inability to restrict foreign investment, Privatization of Canada's healthcare system would result in American healthcare corporations buying up most of Canada's healthcare infrastructure, extending the American-style healthcare into Canada. The American healthcare system is widely recognized for providing some of the finest healthcare in the world for those affluent enough to gain access. Those of lower income requiring access to healthcare become spectators and clients of a lower quality publicly subsidized system. The private sector willingly provides the profitable services while the taxpayers fund the unprofitable elements of U.S. healthcare, overseeing payments made for services rendered. Patient inability to service healthcare billings remain the leading cause of personal bankruptcy in the USA. If we as a nation are unable to collectively fund our public healthcare system, how then as individuals do we fund the far more expensive American-style healthcare system? I would suggest Mr. Feldstead turn his immediate attention to the many reports of neglect and abuse that have occurred in Manitoba's privately owned personal care homes. His goal would be to create a positive example of personal care that he could promote as an alternative to our public health care system. The problem he will be confronted with is private personal care homes must generate profit for the owner investors. Profits that have been generated at the expense of substandard patient care, in one example requiring the intervention of the Canadian military. In a more recent incident, criminal assault charges have been brought against 2 employees of the privately owned Winnipeg personal care home, Oakview Place. While he endeavors to create a workable model of privately owned personal care home, providing high-quality care that is safe, profitable, affordable, and universally available, I will retain my trust in our public-funded health care system. From Fred Tate of Rossendale, Manitoba. And under thumbs up, thumbs down, we have 2 thumbs up this week. A big thumbs up to our outgoing Mayor Blake McCutcheon for the great job you have done in the past 4 years, and a thumbs up for incoming Mayor Brian Headley. Your council has done a great job over the past 4 years with our growing town. We are sure that new Mayor Brian will do a great job for our growing into the future. From Terry and Donna Smith of Nipua. And a big thumbs up to everyone who's donating their garden vegetables to KK1, and especially to Velma, Joe, and Wendy Spees. From Janice Arbstrider of Nipua. And we have a second section this week, the Farmer's Advocate. And on the front page of this section, Farming Simulator comes to Manitoba. Pictured Jan Fitzner, Special Projects Manager, Giant Software. Chris Caprani, Lead Audio Designer, Giant Software. Aaron Leaflor, Project Manager, Versatile, Winnipeg Head Office. Sit atop Big Roy after completing the scanning and audio process to incorporate the tractor into Farming Simulator. Exciting things are happening in a few rural areas of Manitoba and at the Manitoba Agricultural Museum, located in Austin, Manitoba. The popular video game, Farming Simulator, has come here to collect scans and resources of vintage versatile tractor models to add to the game. The Farming Simulator franchise has a partnership with the Canadian agricultural machinery manufacturer Versatile. The company contacted Versatile about adding a collection of their products to the game for their users to experience in their gameplay, including some of the unique and rare older models. Since all of the new models were designed on the computer, they were able to supply files for their tillage tools and the current tractors to the game's team of designers. Aaron Leaflor of Brunkild, Manitoba, is the product manager for Versatile and had the opportunity to be one of the auditors for these models, meaning he was there to make sure that everything was colored right and sized correctly for Farming Simulator. popular video game to feature Big Roy. The team from Giant Software was here to collect resources and archiving it for when it will be needed. To complete this, they needed to scan many of the historical models because, as Leaflore explained, all of these older machines were designed on pencil and paper, so it's not as easy to recreate those models as there are no real blueprints available for them to work off of. This project and trip had been in the works for about 4 months before they arrived here, but discussions have been ongoing since the beginning of the year. Giant Software is the franchise that develops Farming Simulator. The company does the entire process of creating the game, including producing, releasing, and publishing it. They created a few other games back in the day, such as a ski resort simulator and a demolition company simulator, but now Farming Simulator is their main focus. The team on location included lead audio designer Chris Caprani and special projects manager Jan Fitzner, who came here from Europe. The pair flew into Chicago and immediately hit their first bump in their travels when they realized that the airline didn't bring their personal luggage and all their equipment. They had to wait 2 days for it to come in before they drove up to Manitoba for their first location to work. A big part of Fitzner and Caprani's specific job positions are based on location, meaning they travel to wherever the machines are. Caprani said that when he moved to Germany and started working with the company about 2.5 years ago, not much happened due to COVID-19 and the restrictions that came with the pandemic. This year, he said a lot has happened, and so far they've traveled to Austria, Switzerland, Germany, and now the US and Canada. While it's usually focused within Europe, Caprani stated that this is his first time having to travel for work overseas, and his first time in Canada. Whether or not a particular brand is German, it's likely they will usually have a distributor or manufacturer located in Germany, so they will just go to those locations. Caprani mentioned that a previous audio designer had traveled to the States a number of years ago to record the Big Bud tractor. The unique and older models are the reason why they need to travel out of Germany every so often. They weren't sure how many pieces of machinery they were going to scan in the area, but when they were at the Manitoba Agricultural Museum, they knew they were doing 3 at the museum and approximately 6 at other farms in the area. Coming to Manitoba was the main reason for their trip, but they were making the most of it. Caprani explained that after they finished up here, they would be traveling to Iowa, North Dakota, Illinois, Minnesota, and Wisconsin to try to find other sites and distributors, including Steiger, as they make their way back to Chicago. The time it takes to complete one tractor from the scanning stage to when it would be completed and integrated into the archive is around 4 to 5 months for just one piece of equipment. This all includes 3D artists, imitation, integration, and audio. What the team did here is strictly references, which they will send off to the team of 3D artists that are based in their Czech Republic office location, where they will do a complete new model. The team specializes in converting the scans and images into the Farming Simulator game engine version. They would use the information provided by this technology as a reference of scale. The 3D artists need to do a lot of rebuilding using both the scans and the pictures they take of the intricate details in order to recreate the machinery. The team here was strictly collecting resources for the archive for the franchise to select from later. They did not have any estimate of how soon people could see this machinery in the game, adding, they're not the ones who decide which pieces make it into the game. They said they have seen a lot of interesting personalities. Caprani said that everyone they've met has been super friendly, approachable, and warm. When asked about how he felt traveling to the Manitoba Agricultural Museum, of all places in Canada, Caprani said that it felt special because while places like the distributors and manufacturers are cool, it's just as you would expect. A big factory, and it's got that corporation front of a normal business. Whereas at the museum, there's heritage. It feels special. While they do work with private owners of rare and old vehicles and machines and have recorded in museums in Germany, they've never seen anything to this scale. It feels like a special introduction to Canada, Caprani said. He added that while you could come here as a tourist and just go for the sights, being here you're immediately immersed in a community you've never heard about, and it gives you a deeper insight into the country. He mentioned that while talking to Leaflore in the past few days, they've also learned about the infrastructure and the resources of the country that they had no idea about and never would have had they just visited a city. Leaflore is not only a versatile employee and collector, but is also a volunteer at the Manitoba Agricultural Museum. Being the contact between Versatile and Giant Software, he was the one who suggested coming to the museum for multiple reasons, but the main one being that Big Roy is here. Leaflore said he is super excited about this project because his farm was going to be one of the host sites for the scanning. All of their larger horsepower tractors are Versatile, so after they finished at the museum, they would be heading to Brunkild, Manitoba, where he farms with his in-laws, to scan their 976 Versatile, 276 bidirectional, 2360 four-wheel drive Bueller Versatile, to hopefully be included into the game. Leaflore has been volunteering at the museum for 28 years and is usually working with tractors a little older than the ones being scanned, adding that he's also excited to share the museum with people from around the world and to personally be a part of the game. Leaflore said, "Thank you to everybody that has helped make this possible. It's an initiative of Farming Simulator and Versatile, but it's been amazing to see all the volunteers come out and get excited about this. They've helped get Big Roy running, as well as their personal Versatile tractors, working long days and crazy hours of early mornings and late nights to try to make this happen because they believe in it as much as they do. It just shows how much emotion is tied to the Versatile brand, how many people believe in the brand," expressed Leaflore. When it comes to social media, they hope to try to get all the traction they can by using this opportunity to get the name of the museum out there and attract more visitors. Farming Simulator is quite popular with younger individuals, whether they are associated with agriculture or not, especially in Europe. This game provides an opportunity for them to learn about a lot of products and other brands and types of equipment from around the world through the game. Leaflore feels hopeful that with the amount of younger people that play this game, they will see Big Roy and that it will hopefully pique their interest and they will discover the Manitoba Agricultural Museum. And this article is accompanied by a few pictures. On the top, Jan Fitzner begins the scanning process of the exterior of the Versatile D118. And bottom right, Brent Wilcox, the local and longtime museum volunteer, stands with his Versatile D118 that was scanned for the game archive. And bottom left, Chris Caprani sets up the audio recording equipment on Big Roy. And we have a few other pictures in this section. Getting all the angles. Madison Robertson was getting low to snap some photos of the cows at the Robertson farm located west of Nipua. And a good old-fashioned harvest. Thousands of sheaves have been placed into stooks along the Plumas highway. Harvesting grain this way is old-fashioned, but was very common until the 1950s. Placing the sheaves is back-breaking work, but it is necessary to get the grain off the ground so they can finish ripening and dry down, or cure. These sheaves will likely be gathered and put through a threshing machine to separate out the grain for sale or for livestock feed. And on this page, heritage horses. A mare and one of her foals are standing in a field at Clearview Stock Farms. There are a dozen registered mares that are producing foals for Clearview right now. Suffolk horses are a heritage breed in Canada that are considered internationally rare. Clearview Stock Farm is the only breeder of Suffolk horses in Manitoba. And we'll just touch on this one article briefly. Field report, a critical period for farmers. Manitoba's Ag Weather Program measures and records data year-round from over 100 weather stations across Agro Manitoba. The stations monitor air temperature, relative humidity, barometric pressure, precipitation, wind speed and direction, solar radiation, soil temperature, and soil moisture. The latest weather conditions from each station are made available every 15 minutes throughout the growing season and every hour during the winter months. And then it goes on to list the percent normal accumulated corn heat units from May 1st to September 11th, percent of normal accumulated precipitation, and notes as a critical fall period for alfalfa, and warns to watch for nitrates and prussic acid in annual forage crops. And one more article, Bison return to regenerate soils. And I'll just touch on the pictures briefly. On the top picture, bison on a summer pasture are obviously happy with their summer grazing, but are also well adapted to winter grazing. And on the bottom, Brooks and Jen White and family. They are the 5th generation owner-operators of Borderland Agriculture, a grain farm and bison ranch located in the far southwest corner of Manitoba. And this is a project to convert 160 acres of grain land to a grazing system. And that'll be it for the Nipua Banner and Press for this week, for September 30th, 2022. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.